Here you go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Just Because Wrestling. I'm Billy. This is Jack. And believe us when we say we are so happy that we have witnessed stomping grounds between ever take place.
You know what? It actually wasn't. It wasn't as bad as people thought it would be.
Yeah,
it was actually.
In fairness,
I've seen worse pay-per-views. It wasn't Sin 2001 like it was.
Yeah,
it was okay. Like it was.
In fairness, it was a good pay-per-view.
Could have been a lot worse. Well, I wouldn't say it was a good pay-per-view, but like it could have been a lot worse.
It was a good pay-per-view.
It was fine. Like
I stand by. It was good. It was.
I think it could have been it could have qualified as a good Raw.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, like I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
It was fine. Like it was standard WWE pay-per-view.
There's better pay-per-views, obviously, but
there's a lot worse too. Like it just fits somewhere in the middle there. Like
average.
Yeah,
average. Perfectly serviceable.
It would it's not as bad as people were going into this thinking like this might be the worst pay-per-view of all time. It was nowhere near that. Like it was.
Well, it actually, I suppose numbers wise, it just broke the record for the lowest pay-per-view buy ever for a pay-per-view. I know, like in this day and age,
it doesn't really matter. Like, but I get that because it's one of the lowest attended pay-per-views ever. I would imagine too. Like so, like
yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm sure like back in like attendances were kind of substandard.
But they did at smaller venues. Like I think if you go by a pay-per-view, a percentage of what was available compared to what was actually sold, I say this must have been one of the worst performing pay-per-views ever.
Yeah, it came out that it did about 9,000 buys.
That's atrocious. Well, like, bear in mind there is like 2 million subscribers to the network or something.
Well,
so, like,
to put it in comparison, WrestleMania 35, WrestleMania this year did 100,000 buys.
You can never compare to WrestleMania though. Like,
no, but I'm just saying just if you want a bit of contrast, and Super Showdown last month in Saudi Arabia did 11,000 buys. So 2,000 more people bought that pay-per-view.
What did Fastlane do? Because that's probably a better comparison.
I have no idea what Fastlane did. That I don't know. I just saw the numbers. I saw the numbers for WrestleMania and I saw the numbers for Super Showdown. And
it's probably a better comparison because Super Showdown, at least you had the attractions of Bill Goldberg and Undertaker and whatever that brings, but like, you had kind of a thing where like there was no bells and whistles with this pay-per-view, and the last time with that,
but like
it was Fastlane. I just wanted to compare.
Think about it, right? If 100,000 people bought WrestleMania, that means 91,000 people decided not to buy this show.
Yeah, but see, you can never compare WrestleMania because like WrestleMania.
Oh, I know. Like it was never going to do 100,000 buys, but I'm just saying like.
But like the thing is, WrestleMania just garners a lot of interest anyway.
Yeah,
and like there's a reason it's called WrestleMania season. Like you get people who come back just for those first 3 months of the year or first 4 months of the year.
Yeah.
In between Royal Rumble and onwards, and then give up because it goes into a lull period, and that's what we're in right now.
God, I hope so. God, I hope you're right when you say that. I hope.
It is like, and it's notorious for that. That's why it was such a. It was like I think they were trying to get out of that by putting Money in the Bank right after WrestleMania, but that didn't pan out as well as they'd want, and it wouldn't surprise me if they switch it back now next year, but like, and just go back to a standard. Maybe Stomping Grounds would be the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania, or if they do another one, and do another Stomping Grounds. But like, I think it does have its seasons, like WrestleMania or like wrestling, and especially in the WWE. And I think it goes back to should they have an off season or not. Like, but that's a debate for another day.
What's it called? So like, I mean, obviously the pay-per-view buy rate isn't that big of a deal nowadays with the network and stuff.
I would like to see the figures of actually who watched on the network. Like, how many streams did it do during the network? That would be a better, more interesting figure to look at now, a more accurate figure. Because it was definitely down, I would imagine, just throughout the entire interest of this pay-per-view. Like, but I think you'd get a better gauge of it by looking at the amount of streams and stuff.
Yeah, no, you would definitely. But it's the live attendance was the big issue here, with reports of there being between 4,000 and 4,500 people there, with an entire section of the arena being blocked off because there wasn't sufficient.
It was really only the hard cam and behind the commentators that was full, wasn't it? Like the completely other side of the arena was kind of boxed off.
Yeah. And unfortunately for WWE, that trickled over into Raw and SmackDown this week, with SmackDown especially supposedly only doing about 2,000 attendance.
Yeah, but see, it was Dakota, Washington, or whatever it was, wherever, Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma, and
they're never going to go back to that town again. Like
Raw was in Washington as well, but it was in a different town. And then,
but that's what I mean. I think that area of Washington, they're probably just never going to go back there because there doesn't seem to be that much interest in wrestling.
Yeah, well, they did WrestleMania there once.
But in fact, yeah, I know, but that was Seattle, and that was a lot different.
They'll go back to Seattle.
Yeah, I'd like to see the actual what I was going to say was that the for the lack of crowd there, the crowd that actually were there were like making up for it. Because fuck me, they were loud. And you know what? I don't mind that in wrestling. Then if you're only gonna fill a 10,000 seat arena with 2,000 wrestling fans, rather than filling it with 10,000 people and only 2,000 are still wrestling fans and the rest are like sitting on their hands for something to do for the day.
Yeah. Like in fairness. I know like there was only supposedly between 4,000 and 4,500 people there, but like you wouldn't have known it from like watching.
unless Meltzer was reporting it, you'd like the crowd was hot. Like fucking when Daniel Bryan came out for that tag match, it was the place came unglued. Which
I think that's to me that's the only reason they'll go back to Washington now is literally for Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, but like that's what I mean. Like the place came unglued. And it's definitely beaten some 10,000 seat arenas full with crowd reactions because like you've seen with like Raw, especially in the last couple of years, have gone to some towns where like there could be 10,000 people and a big moment happens and they're just dead.
Yeah, what was that? Oh, it was the last thing that I can remember this happening for, the last big one anyway.
I have one as well, but go on.
It was when they announced that Aleister Black, Ricochet, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano were coming to the game.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say when Evolution returned when they were feuding with the Shield. Do you remember they came out and nobody reacted?
Did I not get a pop? No.
Nothing. No, go back and watch that. Nothing.
Yeah, I can't remember that.
Like, even the commentators weren't even enthusiastic about it then because like they were obviously given the cue to just like be quiet and let us hear the pop, and then there was no pop, so they just didn't know what to do. Go back and listen to that. Like nothing.
I'll have to. But like the last one I remember, and it was more recent than that, was the announcement that Aleister Black, Ricochet, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano were coming up to the main roster, and literally, I can't remember. It was was it Kentucky somewhere? No, it wouldn't have been Kentucky because Ricochet's from there, and he would have gotten a pop, or we hope. I can't remember where it was, but it was.
It was one of the southern states. I remember that.
Tennessee,
something like that.
It was one of the southern states, but literally, like the graph flashed up. Twitter was like alight with excitement, and like everyone in the live crowd were just like they couldn't give two shits that they were coming up like, and it was literally you're getting four of arguably the best wrestlers in the world coming up to the main roster next week, and like people couldn't care less. It was man, it was so
It
sad.
wasn't even next week. It was that night, wasn't it? It was that night when Triple H came out at the start of Raw.
Was it?
Yeah, it was later that night, so it wasn't as if they didn't care because they weren't going to see them. They were seeing them that night.
I can't remember, but like it's
because it was reported like an hour before Raw, and then Triple H opened Raw, and like there was just no reaction.
That's so sad. But yeah, that was the last one I remember. But yeah, Stomping Grounds.
But that goes back to my point of what I was saying. Like, I'd rather 2,000 or 4,000, whatever, enthusiastic wrestling fans, passionate, like we saw the other night, rather than 10,000 who are fucking dead.
Well, like from our own personal experience, go back to when we went to OTT back in February.
Yeah.
And like we went to, it was in the National Basketball Arena in Dublin, and like I'm not sure what the attendance is, but I'm pretty sure it's under 2,000.
What it must be? I think it's like 1.5 or 1.6 or something.
Yeah, and like it was deafening in there at some points. When Jordan Devlin came out, it was deafening.
Yeah, for Star Devlin, for Neville Walter, and then for the main event with the tag match in the steel cage, the place was unglued.
Yeah, like
it was.
For me, the kind of biggest one for me was Devlin Star. That got like such a huge pop, and especially when Devlin came out, and especially when Devlin won.
Yeah,
that was,
and
it was deafening in there. Like it was,
and as well, Ospreay and Scotty Davis got a huge pop when he revealed to Scotty Davis that he'd be the one facing Liger at Scrappermania. That got a massive pop as well. So like, yeah, you're right. Like, if you have a building full of 2,000 fans, it can make a lot of noise if they're really enthusiastic.
Yeah, no, you can definitely.
And like, credit to the fans that were in attendance, because like, my God, it wasn't the most exciting card. It wasn't a card to be enthusiastic for, but my God, they were into everything. Which fair play, like
they were hot. Like what was the first match again? What opened? Becky Lacey. Like they were hot for that match. They were really hot for the tag match between the New Day and Sammy and Kevin, because it was just a really good match, and they were super hot for that. They were hot for Ricochet Joe. Like there was very little they weren't into. Like, you know, they were.
What I loved about the crowd as well, they gave things a chance, because like you go to some towns then are different, where they'll voice their opinion, but they can be really smarky in the sense that, like, you know, for an example, when Lacey Evans was first revealed as a special referee, they were like, "Oh, fuck this," and they were chanting bullshit and all this. And then by the end of it, once Becky came out, the place went nuts. Like, they just bought into it. They like were convinced by it. Whereas somewhere like a New York or a Chicago would have just no matter what WWE had done, they would have shit all over it, which is another thing. You can have crowds then that are too smarky and criticize everything, you know.
Yeah, like, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about next, because like nothing too notable happened on the card, but one thing that I want to talk about was obviously the main event between Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin, with the big reveal that Lacey Evans was Corbin's chosen special guest ref, and like the reception to that was overwhelmingly negative. Like, no one was into it.
At the start, by the end of it, they were. I felt.
Yeah, in the crowd and stuff, but I'm talking about like on Twitter and stuff. Like, everyone was like, from what I saw anyway, people weren't into it at all, and I think it's more. And what I think we were talking about it anyway off screen, that we were texting and stuff about it, and we were like saying that like we both thought it was really good.
I loved it. I thought it was genius. Like, what did people want? Like, if Brock came out, they would have been like, "Oh, this is bullshit. Brock's in the main event."
Well,
so like,
I would have thought, right? I thought it was going to be Brock, right? Because, and like, I think deep down, I'd pick Brock because everyone was saying Brock, and I thought it would be overwhelmingly hilarious if it was Brock, like just to see him in a ref shirt. But like it wouldn't have made any sense for him to be there. It really wouldn't have. But like when you break down the fact that Lacey Evans was the ref, it makes all the sense in the world. Seth is not going to hit her because she's a woman and he's a babyface.
It was very logical, which you can rarely say about WWE these days. Yeah. So like,
and, I was looking at Twitter and stuff, and I was like, "What do you want? You clamor for like logical storylines and stuff that makes sense." And then when you don't get something completely random and just like out there, then you're like, "Oh, this is bullshit." Like
you see people a lot of people are complaining about it, but no one is offering an alternative. I'd have no problem people complaining about it if they came up with another logical alternative, or if WWE had a better option. If they were like, "Oh, like it should have been this because that would have made so much more sense." But like nothing made more sense to me anyway.
I saw one person say Vince. Have Vince be the special guest ref because Rollins doesn't come off a babyface beating a 73-year-old man to death.
He does though. Everyone hates Vince right now. Like, have you seen the product?
I don't hate Vince. I hate Shane.
Yeah, but have you seen the product at the moment? People would have loved Seth Rollins beating up Vince.
No, but of course I do. But like deep down in my soul, I don't blame Vince for some reason. I can't come to blame Vince anymore. I know it's his fault, but I can't blame him. I don't know why, but like I would okay. I don't hate him. I know that he should really get his shit together and sort stuff out because what's going on at the moment is terrible. But like I wouldn't pop for Seth Rollins beating Vince McMahon to death with a chair. I wouldn't pop for that.
Oh no, I wouldn't either. Like, we've seen it 1,000 times now with Roman.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think I saw one other person suggest something else, but I can't remember what it was. But
I saw a couple of people suggesting Bray, but that would have made no sense.
Yeah.
What sense would have that made? Like,
I'm actually so excited for his debut because have you seen what's going on Raw and SmackDown this week?
The characters keep popping up in the background, and
yeah, on both shows as well. So I can't wait to see what happens. But yeah,
I love that. I love that idea. I think it's really creative. Like, because like for a long time now, debuts have become very formulaic, and this seems like because with NXT roster call-ups and all that, they're just becoming less and less creative with how they debut a character. Whereas they're going all out with this, and I really hope when he actually debuts, I really hope it makes sense and it's good and it's in a prominent storyline.
Yeah, please God, let it be good. Okay, I suppose we better talk about like the biggest news. It broke today. Broke earlier on today, and it is that Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff have been signed on as executive directors of Raw and SmackDown, respectively. And basically, they will be running both shows and report, and the only person above them will be Vince McMahon. Yeah. I mean, that is huge. If it's what we all hope it is, and that is that Vince will be like loosening his grip on the shows, and that Heyman and Bischoff will get to run them with their vision and with their ideas.
And I think for one anyway, I think Eric or Paul Heyman is always a guy who has his finger on the pulse, of what people want. I think he still is with the likes of Seth Rollins stuff. We saw it with CM Punk. He always believed in these people. Even back when he was before when he was in charge of SmackDown, the SmackDown 6 that no one wanted at the time. I think there was a joke. There was a joke going around the office at the time that they were doing an actual proper draft at the time, and it was he had Triple H on his SmackDown roster, and he said whoever was in charge of Raw, he said you can have Triple H if you give me Guerrero, Benoit, and I think Booker T, and like everyone thought that was ridiculous. Everyone thought like he's giving up Triple H for these three, like it's ridiculous. But like look what he made out of them, like.
Yeah,
so I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I am too. I'm hopelessly optimistic about this. But
I think the only thing is, I think if they're going doing this, I think the wildcard rule needs to be abolished because
this is something I want. This is something I wanted to bring up to you, right? Because Eric Bischoff was on Kenny McIntosh's.
I saw that clip. Yeah.
Yeah, he was when he was asked like what he thinks the issues are and stuff, and he was talking about. I mean, this was a couple of months ago. And he was talking about the brand split and how he says that like both shows need to be kept separate. Both need to have separate rosters and have separate fields. Yeah. And he says that what was interesting is he said that WWE's production was almost
is too good. Yeah.
He said like it needs to be a bit grittier, or at least one of them has to be a bit grittier, just so it feels different. So it'll be interesting now to see if Bischoff followed. Well, like see, like it's all well and good for me to say if he follows up on what he said a few months ago, but like. We have to keep in mind here that he is reporting directly to Vince.
Yeah, I think Bischoff was going off his ideas from like when he was in charge of WCW. That like, this is what he would have done, but like it's still Vince's universe. No pun intended, but like
we're gonna have to see how, like I said, how loosely the grip loosens up. Like we'll have to, if at all.
I would be in favor, and I don't know if you would. It's up to you, but I'd like your opinion on it. I'd be in favor with them turning around now and being like, okay, we're gonna do a draft, start it all over again.
Do you know what? Genuinely, I was thinking about this today. I was in work and I was thinking to myself, I actually would 100% be down for WWE having a reboot, like literally just.
Like the WCW did, where they stripped everyone of their titles.
Like I
back in 2000.
I wouldn't be anti. No, but like in a good way. Like I mean, I wouldn't be anti. Like just not necessarily stripping everyone, but like just like cease the rosters as of now, and then next week sort out your shit and just like.
Yeah, even if they took like a week off from Raw, just to fucking sort this mess.
Like if they just took a week to just like be like these people are on Raw, these people are on SmackDown, and like even have like a network special in the meantime, say for like a draft to show like these are the Raw guys, these are the SmackDown guys. Send people back to NXT.
Yeah.
Send people.
And not only that, it's not only that. Like here's who's on Raw, here's who's on SmackDown. Sit down and be like. Here's who's on Raw. Here's what we want to do with them. Here's who they'll be feuding with. Here's the end game. Here's how it starts. Like fucking put a structure there. Jesus Christ.
Do you know what as well though? And like this might be an unpopular opinion as well. I don't know. Like you tell me. Like I'd like to get your opinion on it.
Yeah.
Like as the leaders, as the executive directors, like they'll have to make calls that may not necessarily be popular, but will be better. Like for the greater good. And one said call that I believe is they will have to, in my opinion, I think they should abolish the women's tag belts and the 24/7 title. I know the 24/7 title is great, it's really entertaining, but it completely negates the brand split. Like it completely contradicts the brand split.
I don't mind the 24/7 title because that's the one you could get away with if shifting in between brands.
That exactly feeds into Bischoff's problem of like brands need to be kept completely separate at all times. Like you can't have if this is how it happens. One little thing leaks through into both brands, and then the whole reason that this thing happened. And like this was way before the wild card rule or anything like that. The whole reason that the brands are so muddied now is because Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon started appearing on both shows. They got rid of authority figures on both shows and brought in themselves, the McMahons, and like that opened the floodgates essentially for.
Then you had the tag belts, and you had
yeah. So like, if one small thing leaks out onto both brands, then like it's just one crack that will just keep spreading and spreading and spreading. And like, don't get me wrong, like I was against 24/7 title when it got announced. I thought like, oh, this is going to be so bad. It's proven me wrong. I've eaten my words. It has been really, really entertaining, really, really good. R-Truth and Drake Maverick have been absolutely outstanding in their roles, and like I love it. But like, if I was,
but why not have it just on one brand? Why not just make it just a Raw exclusive?
Okay. If that's the case, then you need to keep the 24/7 title on one brand and the women's tag belts on another brand, and keep them exclusive to both brands, and then that gives each show its a bit of individuality. Like, one show has the women's tag titles, like, so the women's tag division is over there, and then.
But even if you're talking about giving shows different feels, I think, and this, I think it was Sam Roberts who came up with this theory way back when the fucking brand split, or not the brand split, but whatever it was called at the time, the brand extension or whatever the fuck. When Raw and SmackDown split again, and SmackDown went to SmackDown Live, his idea was, and I think it still stands to this day, that put the tag team division on one and put the women's division on another, because it gives them two different feels every time, and it's not as if you're getting it's not as if you're getting two of the same shit on each show. At least on one show you get a tag division, and one show you get a women's division. It gives them different feels.
Yeah, but you know, do you think
that it's not as if the tag division is like fucking cluttered with stars at the moment. You could make a solid tag division if you amalgamated them and put them on one brand. Same with the women's division at the moment.
Yeah, no, like, I agree. It's definitely not a bad idea. But like, my issue with that is, do you think that raises a problem with, like, okay, do you think that there should be an annual draft?
If they're going to fucking stick to it, then yes. But not not in its current form, no.
Okay, but let's say they do. Let's say they stick to, let's say post WrestleMania each year, there's a shift between both brands, and superstars cross from one to the other. Do you not think it raises an issue if the tag division and the women's division are exempt from being drafted?
I don't think so. I think if you're going, like, you just say that, just be like, because the women's division is only on SmackDown and the tag team division is on Raw, all superstars within those divisions are exempt from the draft. Just explain that, and I don't think people will have an issue with it. I think what WWE tend to do is just not explain it, and then it becomes this big coincidence that, neither of them were drafted, but it's a big coincidence. No, just explain that these these can't be drafted because, like, SmackDown is the women's show and Raw is the tag show, so obviously these people can't go to either.
Yeah.
It gives the show. I'm not saying that it's the fucking answer to all our problems, but at least
I know.
It gives the show different feels, and that's what Eric Bischoff was talking about.
It would, and I mean, what it probably does is it probably brings more viewers to both shows, because if you want to see the women wrestle, then you have to watch SmackDown. If you want to see the tag division, you have to watch Raw.
Exactly. Why am I going to watch SmackDown if I can see Roman Reigns on Raw too? And he's going to be on SmackDown, which he never is now.
I just want to point this out, right? Roman Reigns, as of this year, is a SmackDown superstar. Correct me if I'm wrong. He is a SmackDown superstar, right? This week, he appeared on Raw and did not appear on SmackDown.
He hasn't. I think he's only appeared once.
No, he's appeared. No, he's appeared a few times, but he's appeared more times on Raw post WrestleMania than he has on SmackDown, and he's been a SmackDown superstar since.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's
the first protocol should be to abolish the wildcard rule. That should be the first thing gone.
Yeah,
because that is ruining everything. And,
you know what? I think what this should do is just like on Raw, have Eric Bischoff come out and just turn around and be like, Vince, have Vince come out first, then Eric Bischoff come out and just be like, the wildcard route is gone. Go home. Start up your football company or whatever the fuck you want to do. Just get out. Leave.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, because it was actually interesting enough, WWE.com themselves released a statement about it,
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting, and I thought that might mean that they would be on-screen authority figures, but it turns out that
I saw that as well. I was like, oh no.
No, it turns out they're going. It's exclusively backstage role. Do you think that this affects Paul Heyman being on screen with Brock Lesnar and like that?
I don't know. I suppose people can do two roles. I don't see why not. I think I think the only thing it'll affect is where Brock ends up. I think it's inevitable now that Brock, once they move to Fox, if there's actually going to be a split in the brands now, that Brock will just end up on SmackDown.
You know that Heyman's in charge of Raw.
Is it Raw Heyman's in charge of? I thought Raw was no, I read that Bischoff was SmackDown. No. Or no, I read that Bischoff was Raw and Heyman's SmackDown.
No, see, it's weird because obviously Heyman's more synonymous with SmackDown and Bischoff's more synonymous with Raw, but they switched them and Bischoff's on Raw. Bischoff's on SmackDown and Heyman's on Raw.
Oh. See, that changes things. I thought, yeah. I don't know why.
It makes sense. It makes sense for to naturally assume, I assumed that Bischoff would be heading up Raw and Heyman would be heading up SmackDown, just from the past, but
from what we're conditioned to believe.
Yeah, but no, it's the other way around. It's Heyman on Raw, Bischoff on SmackDown.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because I read as well that Bischoff will be dealing directly with
Fox
as well.
He has a relationship with Fox though, and from the past I know he's ran a couple of shows on that channel, so that would make sense.
It's funny though, because I read WWE's statement about it, and it was like Paul Heyman, former because they were saying their accolades as to why they're good for people to run both shows, and I was like, Paul Heyman, former head of ECW, was able to secure a TV deal with TNN with ECW, ran with ECW from 1993 to 2001, and head of creative. It was the head of creative at one point, and all this kind of stuff. And then for Bischoff, it was the head of WCW for a period of time, and then it was he's a New York Times best-selling author. And I was like, that's got nothing to do with anything. It's
yeah,
why is that relevant? But
they just like piping that in anytime they can.
Yeah, I know.
It's like Vince's Nobel Prize, I'm sure. New
York best-selling author. It's so funny as well though, because I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Sean Ross Sapp. I'm not sure, but someone put up a picture of it. Was some Raw back in 2005, and it was Heyman, Bischoff, and Vince in the ring, and then the caption was 2019.
Yeah,
who would have guessed that?
Yeah, I saw a thing as well. It was the accolades that they were naming out, like you said there, and it was instead of the accolades, it was just we do not want these people to go to AEW. It's we do not want these minds to go to AEW, so they've been hired by us.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I hope it's not just some bullshit role, that it actually means something, that they actually have some sort of control and power, and that I don't I can get over Vince having the final say. He is the boss, whatever. But step back and it's like he's the owner of the company. Let your managers run the shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, if the managers have a problem, they'll say to you, and you can sort out the big problems backstage. But like, let the managers who are proven time and time again that they know what they're doing, and like are
Well,
more.
both have proven that they can run major wrestling promotions successfully, and
Well,
like
both have done Vince's job, like, and
yeah,
do you know what I mean? So
and like I know people will say about Paul Heyman, oh, he could never handle money and all that, but just like don't put him in charge of the money, just
yeah,
put him in charge of the content.
yeah,
Like,
he doesn't have he doesn't have to be in charge of money. Don't let
yeah,
there's treasurers to be in charge of money. Like, don't let him be in charge of money. Let Bischoff and Heyman handle the week to week TV wrestling shows, and let everyone else care about like stuff elsewhere. Let the wrestlers wrestle.
and do you know what the thing is? Do you know what the thing is as well? And what's impressive, like what's exciting about this, is at the moment WWE is a damaged brand. It's a brand that has been around for years, but now all of a sudden it's become damaged because people are just associated with shitty TV for the last fucking year and a half or whatever. But like both of these two men that they've hired now to do this job have a history of reviving damaged brands. Like ECW, Eastern Championship Wrestling, was like a damaged brand. It was just a regional promotion, and Paul Heyman took it and made it into like they ended up on national TV, which is huge for just a regional promotion like that. And then, to a bigger extent, you've Eric Bischoff, who, like Crockett at the time, World Championship Wrestling, like was just kind of in a shitty time. Like, again, another damaged brand. All of a sudden, here comes Bischoff, better television. Hogan turns, you know the story. NWO is created, and we're off to the races. Yeah, so it's these people have a track record of pulling companies from fucking disparity. So hopefully these two men can do it.
It's certainly a step in the right direction.
Well, they're acknowledging it. At least Vince is not stubborn enough to turn around and be like, "Oh fuck," or like, "No, fuck it, I'll do it myself." At least he's delegating now, and like he's realizing, and I think that's what the pressure of AEW has done to Vince now. It's making him realize that I can't do this all by myself, so I'm gonna get the best minds possible, and who better than
calling in the big guns?
Yeah, and who better than the fucking creator of Extreme Championship Wrestling and the revolutionary of WCW, and the guy who was so close to putting Vince out of business.
The man who's like arguably the best general manager of all time.
Yeah,
the two of them are up there.
But I'm just on about from a pure.
Oh no, yeah, as in like
behind the scenes standpoint.
Yeah. No, definitely 100%. It's like,
if you're going into another battle with a rival wrestling promotion, you might as well have the guy who almost beat you in your corner now. It's like Rocky. It's like Rocky 3 or Rocky 4 or whatever it was, Rocky 3.
It says a lot like AEW is the Ivan Drago of wrestling.
And it's not even that, it's the Clubber Lang, because there was Rocky 3 when Rocky enlists Apollo Creed's help. And that's what Eric Bischoff is. He's the Apollo Creed of wrestling.
Good God. What's going to be the Drago? What's going to kill Eric Bischoff?
I don't know.
New Japan just comes in and Okada just head off.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the biggest news that broke earlier today. Which is obviously very exciting. I'm hopelessly optimistic and just please God let there be an improvement.
Yeah.
Because we are being tested as fans. We are like dirty addicts. We know it's bad for us, but we can't get away.
But you know what? If this is an interesting question, right? If in the last 2 or 3 years, if let's say All In hadn't happened, if the Young Bucks weren't around, if Cody was still in the WWE, and we'd put up with whatever WWE would have happened, how many people would have just stopped being wrestling fans?
Oh, so many, I say.
Like if the elite wasn't there. So like I think WWE have a lot to thank for the elite as well.
Yeah, no, they do.
No.
Like as they say, a rising tide raises all boats.
Yeah.
Or whatever way that goes. Yeah. So, is there any other news that you want to talk about?
I don't know. Do you want to talk about Ospreay and Seth Rollins getting into it online? It's stupid, really, isn't it? It's like two kids in a playground, like fucking. My company can beat up your company. Like, just shut up,
like Seth Rollins is coming up as the worst babyface ever.
Yeah, what's that about? Like,
he's like, we have a better version of you. His name is Ricochet, and he just won the United States Championship. And like, so I don't know what, like that. I don't know. And then my bank account is bigger than your bank account.
Yeah, like it's just
that doesn't mean anything.
Well, no, like, it does mean something in the wrestling business. It does, because like
no, but like it's just a stupid thing to throw into an argument. Like I mean, like it's irrelevant. Like it was irrelevant to the argument. Like
I don't think so. I think it is relevant. I think it is because you're on like I think you're on about who's drawing more money.
No, like the argument was about like who was like what was the best professional wrestling.
Yeah, but there's some people like Al Snow famously once said that the greatest WrestleMania match or the greatest wrestling match of all time is Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan because that's what drew the most money. Because that's what made the most money.
Like, that's one man's opinion. Like I mean,
but I'm saying like but like there if you want to measure it that way, then yeah. So it is relevant in that sense.
Well, but like that's Seth Rollins saying I am the better professional wrestler because I make more money, and like that, like yeah, fair enough. But like to me, the better professional wrestler is the person who is better in the ring and tells the best stories, is better on the mic. Like I mean, and don't get me wrong, Seth Rollins is up there, 100%. He is up there. But like, I mean, to me anyway, that's what it seemed like to me that they were getting into an argument over who was better in the ring, and then Seth Rollins got rattled and was like, "Yeah, but I make more money," and like I got signed, you didn't.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know. I think it's stupid.
It's a stupid argument between both guys. Well, at least Will Ospreay is making more money out of it because he's printing T-shirts like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I mean, like it's barely worth talking about now at this stage. That like it was just a really dumb Twitter argument, and it was just like everyone's like, "Ooh, drama."
I think everyone just wants to see that match.
I would kill to see that match.
Yeah.
No, yeah, genuinely, I would love to see that match so much. What's it called? I suppose another noteworthy match, noteworthy match, and a big news story is The Undertaker returned this week on Raw. And
did you see apparently why?
Is this the Booker T reason?
Yeah, that Booker was saying that like he just wanted to erase the memory of Saudi Arabia.
I completely believe that. And apparently, this is being reported by Sports Illustrated that the reason this match in particular got set up is because Undertaker handpicked Drew McIntyre as a guy he wants to have a singles program with. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the match because we could be going forward to Taker Drew at SummerSlam maybe.
Yeah, but like I hope somewhere in that Drew gets a pin over the Undertaker. I think that needs to happen.
Like, people are now praying that Drew McIntyre is the man to retire the Undertaker, like properly and permanently.
It could be.
I seriously hope so.
Yeah, could be.
Because Drew deserves that, in my opinion. Like Drew is a star, just ready to burst, and like He 100% should. He 100% should.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, no, he 100% should.
Yeah, but it'll be Brock. Will be the guy
It'll be
who'll
Shane.
retire Undertaker.
It'll be Shane.
Big sweaty Shane. He'll drown. Undertaker will drown in his sweat.
It'd be like, do you remember that match he had at the Great American Bash 2004 when they buried Paul Heyman in cement?
Yeah, buried Paul Bearer, not Paul Heyman.
Oh, Paul, did I say Paul Heyman?
Paul Heyman, yeah.
Oh, I think I meant Paul Bearer. It'll be like that match, but like Undertaker gets buried in sweat.
Drowned.
Yeah. So the Undertaker's back to just erase like the ghost of Saudi Arabia past. And yeah, it's such a weird match. Such a weird match. The Roman Reigns and the Undertaker versus Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. It's a weird one.
Yeah, it is a strange one, alright, in fairness, but
it might be good.
Yeah, I don't see why it won't be.
Like have just Roman carry their side of the team and like have Undertaker come in and just do the greatest hits, like, and
yeah, I think Undertaker can still pull off a decent tag team match at least. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it might be okay. Another news story that broke that I found incredibly hilarious. Did you see what Meltzer is reporting as to why Baron Corbin keeps getting pushed?
No.
According to Meltzer, Baron Corbin keeps getting pushed and keeps getting put into the main event scene because Vince McMahon thinks he is a man that women swoon for. He's pushing Baron Corbin.
Oh my god.
He sees Baron Corbin as like the epitome of good looking. The man who had to shave his head because he had such a bad receding hairline, and the guy who has to wear a waistcoat because his belly's so bad.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
That's apparently the reason, and that is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Look at that mass! Like when you have like you have a roster where you have
a roster that has Andrade on it.
Andrade, Finn Balor,
Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle, Adam Cole.
Yeah, like he wouldn't even make the top 30 of the best looking wrestlers
Drake
out there.
Maverick is better looking than Baron Corbin.
That's EC3.
EC3, an incredibly handsome man. Like Andrade to me is like he looks like a god in human form, and like he's got like the face of like an angel.
Jesus, man, calm down.
No, but he is though. I don't blame Charlotte.
Yeah, that's a strange one.
Ricochet.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually thinking about this today. You know how their new WWE's new favorite trick is to remind us that Becky and Seth are in a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how long it is till we find out until Andrade and Zelina Vega are standing in the ring, and the next thing Charlotte comes out and just destroys Zelina Vega, and they become an on-screen thing.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen. See what JR said this week actually on his podcast about that.
Oh, Seth and Becky.
About just WWE couples and all that. About he said that he wasn't like he was never like he's not a fan of portraying the on-screen relationships in real life, like Seth and Becky now at the moment and stuff, because he was saying like that it can lead nowhere really, in the sense that like if they're going to still be together in real life, one can't turn on the other, one can't be a heel and one can't be a face and them still really be together. He was like, he gave Renee Young and Dean Ambrose as an example where that didn't really in particular work when Dean Ambrose turned heel, and it was like It did make a lot of sense that it was.
Well, it makes perfect sense. I don't like it. I don't like it unless it makes sense. Like it only makes. I don't know. Like, I mean, there was no need for Seth and Becky to be portrayed on screen as a couple, or to be portrayed on screen as a couple currently. Like, there's no need for it. There's no cry for it. There is no, like, people were happy to see them as a couple and stuff because they were like, holy shit, like the new power couple in WWE. But like, I don't want to see it week to week on TV. I don't want to see it being
implicated. Yeah, look, I don't mind it being public now.
I don't care who they want to be with. Like, they want to be with each other. That's fine. But I like, it doesn't. So far, it doesn't make for compelling television.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just gonna be waiting for Charlotte and Andrade versus Aleister Black and Zelina Vega.
Yeah, literally.
Everyone's gonna have to have a buddy at this stage.
And like, Casey Catanzara's going to get called up, and her and Ricochet are going to be a team. And then Corey Graves' injury will remarkably heal, and him and Carmella will be a team.
JoJo will learn how to wrestle and team with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, and comes back, and Daniel Bryan, and then who else? Naomi and like Naomi beats up one of the Uso brothers and gets with the one that she's married to, and then who else is with each other? Britt Baker jumps ship from AEW to WWE, and her and Adam Cole become a new power couple.
Cena and Nikki Bella get back together.
What's it called? I think the other ones.
That's pretty much it. Well, Cody and Brandy, obviously.
Cody and Brandy. Stephanie and Triple H are just WWE and Raw Women's Champion. This new couple-based WWE.
You have to be married to someone within the company to be in the company.
Yeah, literally. What I was going to say, actually, I want to speak about this because I thought it was cool enough.
Roderick Strong and Marina Shafir are another one.
Yeah, that's one. There's definitely another one that I'm missing, an obvious one.
Travis Brown, if you ever wanted to get into the ring.
Brock Lesnar and Sable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Sable's never going anywhere near that fucking company again.
Edge and whoever the hell he wants in that company, I suppose.
CM Punk is in that bracket as well.
Yeah. Edge and Beth. What's his name?
In fairness, he only had two, and Edge only had two. CM Punk had like 6.
Yeah. Tyson Kidd and
we move on. I think everyone knows who's together and who's in relationships now at this stage.
Rusev and Lana.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going down a dark hole here. What I wanted to say was, you see on BT this week there was an Adam Cole reference.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Britt Baker and Christopher Daniels, and Christopher Daniels beating Adam Cole for the title and all that.
That was cool. I like that one. The smark in me was pleased with that one. Yeah. What's going on? So I want to point out because I didn't notice it straight away, but I saw it. So I saw it again upon reviewing, and it was BTE a couple of weeks ago. I think it might have been like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was. Do you remember when Hangman was talking to the Bucks about getting a match with MJF at Fyter Fest?
Yeah.
On the TV in the background were various matches of Chris Jericho's from different stages in his career, and like it was like there was one from his WCW Cruiserweight days, there's one from the Attitude Era, there's one from like the PG era, and then the last one was like the Dominion match with Okada, and like cool. I was like, that's a very nice Easter egg.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Speaking of which, shall we get on to the upcoming predictions, the upcoming show this Saturday, AEW Fyter Fest, the big second voyage for AEW.
Yeah, let's go. It's for free. Also,
yeah, if you're a member of Bleacher Report Live, sign up to Bleacher Report Live. You can watch the show for free, basically.
Yeah.
It'll also be on Flight TV and and all that kind of carry on. What's it called? It's if you don't know what this is, it's a pay-per-view that it's a parody on Firefest, which was this big music festival that was like this whole thing, that was promised to be like the biggest and greatest music festival of all time, and it just wasn't.
It was garbage, and like a lot of things were promised, and it didn't. And the guy who ran it went to prison and all that. It's a whole mess. It's a Netflix documentary. Go and watch it.
And basically, and now Kenny Omega, who, if you don't know, is a big fan of video games, has made a joint event with CEO, which is this big gaming convention that happens once a year, a big fighting game convention, and they're running a joint kind of thing.
Is CEO at the same place as last year when the Bucks and Kenny wrestled came up against New Day?
Yeah, same.
That was crazy when you think of it.
Yeah, like, that wouldn't happen now.
But like that was fucking nuts at the time. Like you had like WWE.com reporting about Kenny in the Bucks and all. That was strange. That was a strange time.
Yeah, weird one. That one.
Yeah.
Basically, man must have been away that week. But yeah, so Kenny Omega has said he's promised to get this big, massive festival involving gaming and wrestling, and he's gonna have all the stars there. I'm interested to see how it goes. I hope they do like stuff that stuff doesn't pan out the way people wanted it to and stuff like that. Like, I hope there's like really shitty pyro or something. And but no. So this is happening in Daytona Beach in Florida, and I mean it should be. It's like their first B pay-per-view. If you get me.
Yeah, it's not sold out, which is
really
no, it's not sold out. There's still tickets available.
Didn't see that, but
same Fight like, for the Fallen.
I reckon Fight for the Fallen will probably sell out though.
Well, you would imagine so, but like it's just a thing that like like it's grand to sell out in Vegas and in Chicago, but like. Because they're big wrestling towns, but what will be hard for them is when you go away from that and you have to find a town each month or so to have a pay-per-view, and
they're sticking in Florida for the next 2 months anyway, so
well
let's just get on with the predictions. So first match is on there's 3 matches on the pre-show, or the buy-in as it's still being called. And the first one is Smiley Kylie Ray, versus Leva Bates, the librarian, formerly known as Blue Pants.
Which I only found out this week from you. I didn't realize that was Blue Pants.
I only found it this week from YouTube.
I don't get why they're not sticking with that gimmick, because that was over at the time.
And it's probably WWE probably still have the rights to it, or less.
They don't, because she was using that on the Indies before she went to NXT, and she used it afterwards as well. So they do not own that. I know that.
Oh, fair enough. But I know she did have a bit of a gimmick where she basically was a cosplayer. That like she would come out to sometimes dressed as different wrestlers, sometimes dressed as like pop culture figures and stuff. I know she's a librarian.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so Kylie Ray versus Leva Bates. Who do you have and why?
I don't know. Not sure. This is a strange one. They've kind of promoted both well. I don't know. I'm gonna go the librarian, just because I think Smiley Kylie can lose a lot, just like Bailey can, and come back. So
I'm going Kylie Ray, because I think she's going to be like one of the pillars of the women's division of AEW, and she had to fall in the last match, so I think they're going to keep her somewhat strong here and just have her get a win over Bates. I know Peter Avalon's going to be in the corner. I think we might get like a post-match angle with Bates and Avalon. Like we might see like that will lead to a match at like All Out or something between the two of them. Like I reckon AEW will probably jump on the intergender match bandwagon.
Yeah.
In some capacity. And like that might be what happens. We might get Bates versus Avalon for the librarian gimmick, and like Bates wins or Avalon wins, and Bates goes back to being Blue Pants.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going Kylie Ray, Smiley Kylie. Next match is a convoluted one. It is a triple threat tag team match where the winner will advance to All Out for an opportunity at a first round bye in World Tag Team Championship tournament.
This is one thing that I'm starting to notice with AEW is that like they're complicating a lot. Like I think for wrestling fans, like they'll understand this, whatever. But you're looking at a bigger audience here, and I think they have to just they're trying to overcomplicate things where they just need to simplify things sometimes. I think the Battle Royal at Double or Nothing was an example of that, and I think this is as well. Just just have it as a match. Like I get that it's everything has to mean something and all that, but like this is just really complicated.
Yeah, I mean, like it's. I'm assuming there'll be a second triple threat at Fight for the Fallen, 3 more teams, and those two, the winners of this match and that match, All Out, and the winners of that match get a first round bye in the tournament that will feature a bunch of other matches, and like it's like it means so much that like I mean they're giving it meaning, but it means so little in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't really matter. And like,
why don't I just don't understand. Why don't you just start the tournament now?
Yeah.
And like that just doesn't make sense to me.
Like, if whoever wins this match,
you're doing a tournament for a bye to from the first round of the tournament. That doesn't make any sense. Just start the goddamn tournament. Like,
if anything, it's better to lose because you have less matches to wrestle, and you'll be more like because even if you get to the first round bye,
you still wrestle the same amount of matches. Yeah.
So like, I mean, we don't know how many teams are going to be in it, but like,
and did you see the graphic for it? Like, that's a novel in itself. Like, the graphic of of explaining it. Like, my God, like.
Yeah, I mean, I hope this isn't the thing with AEW that they try so hard to be different that they end up just being complicated.
Yeah,
So, but anyway, the teams are Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, SoCal Uncensored, Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian, and Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. Who do you have in mind?
I'm gonna go Private Party because they seem to be very high on them, and they look really good. And this is like their their introduction into AEW. So I'm gonna go Private Party, and I think they're gonna build them up well in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm going SCU because if you look back at Double or Nothing, it looks like Best Friends are entering into a feud with the Dark Order, the new team that debuted at Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
The Gimps. And with Private Party, like you said, this is their introduction to AEW. Like no one's ever heard of them. Well, like not that no one's ever heard of them, but no one really knows anything about them. The other two teams are a lot more established, and I think this will just be that. It'll just be an introduction for them. Like they'll just get to showcase what they can do, and then, but then the more established team of SCU will go on to compete for the first round bye. Like that doesn't mean like Private Party can still win the whole thing. I wouldn't be against that at all. But I'm just saying like I think SCU are going to win this because they're the most established team probably of the three.
Yeah, that could make sense actually.
Yeah. So, SCU, and finally the main event I think will be of the pre-show is a hardcore match between Michael Nakazawa and Alex Jabali. And if you don't know who Alex Jabali is, he is head of CEO. He's the head of the fighting game thing.
What the fuck is this?
So basically, the storyline behind this is back at CEO last year, the thing Kenny Omega helped run. There was meant to be like a little mini wrestling thing. And Michael Nakazawa is one of Kenny's old friends from DDT. And he was meant to come over and wrestle Jabali. And Jabali, while he was training, got injured. He did something to his knee or something. So he had to pull out of the match. And now the whole thing, now that they're doing it again, they've booked the rematch, and this time they've made it hardcore. So it's Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Jabali in a hardcore match. So it's a guy whose gimmick is he covers himself in baby oil versus a guy who isn't a wrestler. So take your pick in this one.
I don't know. I'm just gonna go with Michael Nakazawa because he's the wrestler in this situation, but it could be anyone. This is going to be a proper DDT style comedy match.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm going. Go on.
For some reason, I don't know why, but it just seems like they're building to a Matt Jackson Michael Nakazawa match. So
exactly my point, because I am picking Alex Jabali to win this match because it was Matt Jackson that booked this. He was the one who added the hardcore rule. I think he comes out, costs Nakazawa, and it sets up Michael Nakazawa versus Matt Jackson at All Out or something. And I am down for this. I am down for this.
Yeah.
So I'm going Alex Jabali.
Yeah, it could make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This match doesn't make sense. That's the point.
Yeah.
So next up, first match on the pre-show or on the main show. Sorry. It is a triple threat match. It is Yuka Sakazaki versus Riho versus Nyla Rose. Who do you have in mind?
Nyla Rose, because she's Nyla Rose.
Because she's a larger woman.
Yeah, and I think she was kind of overshadowed by Awesome Kong, so I think she needs it.
Yeah, it's fair. I'm disagreeing with you though. I am going Riho.
We haven't picked the same in any of these.
Nope. That's the beauty of AEW. It's the beauty of a fledgling company. There's no real storylines to pick up on. I'm going Riho because I feel like she was the person that everyone was talking about after that 6-woman tag. She's like she's only like 20, 21, I think. And she's really, really good. Everyone seemed to really, really like her. So I think they'll give her a big, crowd-pleasing win at this one. And I think you'll have to do something with Rose eventually. They've made a kind of big deal about her signing and stuff. But she doesn't have to eat the pin. So yeah, Riho.
Fair enough.
You could always have all I was thinking is you could always have Awesome Kong come out and cost her again, and then set up Awesome Kong versus Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
No. Which I'll be up for. Next one is a big singles match. I'm looking forward to this match actually. It is Christopher Daniels versus Shima. Who do you have and why?
I don't know. This is kind of like veteran versus veteran kind of thing.
Yeah. The old TNA / Ring of Honor old guard versus the old Dragon Gate old guard.
You could flip a coin for this one. I really don't know. I'm gonna go Chima because I don't know. Because I really can't call this.
I'm also going Chima. It's the first one we agree on. I'm going Chima because he already has a match booked for Fight for the Fallen with Kenny Omega. So I'd imagine they'd want to put him over going into that match.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only reason. Next match is a match I'm actually quite looking forward to as well. It's a big fatal 4-way match. It is Hangman Adam Page versus Jimmy Havoc versus Jungle Boy versus MJF. Who do you have and why?
I'm gonna go MJF.
Okay.
Because I think Jericho gets involved here.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he does, and I think he costs Adam Page. And I think like Adam Page and MJF have the storyline going into this, so I feel like MJF getting a pin over Adam Page, who's going into the inaugural match of for the AEW title is would be huge for him. So I feel, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm going Hangman. I'm going Hangman Page because he is the top guy, or not the top guy, but like one of the top contenders for the AEW World Championship. He's going to be part of the match. I feel like you kind of have to book him strong until that moment. I know you have the loophole with Jericho, but I don't think it makes sense for Jericho to cost Page and give MJF the win, and then have MJF have a rightful claim to being in the match. Then So
yeah, but I think I know kayfabe terms that doesn't make any sense, but I feel at the moment the match just seems as if, oh, here's one wrestler who earned a shot, here's another wrestler, they'll wrestle for the title. There's no personal issue in this match. And I think personal issues is something that Chris Jericho thrives in, and he's thrived in his entire career. And I think he's going to want to make a personal issue. And I think what better way to create a personal issue than have Adam or cost Adam Page and have MJF, the guy who Adam Page hates the most, beat him. So that's my
yeah,
thinking.
no, it makes total sense. I don't know, it's just a gut feeling. Next up, it is a non-sanctioned match. Can't wait for this one.
This is going to be match of the night. This is going to be. This is terrifying. The prospect of this match.
It is Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela.
This is the match. This is the match. Might I point out that when Dean Ambrose was announced to be leaving at the time, this is the match I told you that I was looking forward to most.
Well, they wasted no time in booking it.
Yeah.
So, who'd you have and why?
I'm going Ambrose.
Who the fuck is Ambrose?
What fucking Ambrose? Moxley. I'm going Moxley.
You get it. You get it right.
I'm going Moxley because I feel obviously there's a huge investment in him right now, and it's his first match for AEW, so I don't see him losing.
To me, he feels like the face of AEW now. I know
it's too soon to.
I know, but he feels like their biggest star. To me, I know Jericho's there, and I know Hangman's there, I know Kenny's there, but Moxley, to me, he's the one with the most buzz behind him. So
at the moment, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, to me right now, he feels like the top guy. But yeah, I'm also going Moxley. I mean, he's not going to lose. It's his first match. They built him up already as and Joey Janela's whole thing is he takes an unbelievable beating in in all of his matches. So that's kind of his shtick. So yeah, Jon Moxley, 100%. Next match is a match that is probably a sleeper for match of the night. Could steal the show in my opinion, and it is Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin. Who do you have and why?
This is huge for Darby Allin in the sense that it's an opportunity that he would have never gotten really, or if it hadn't been for AEW. So I think he would have never made it per se in the WWE, and I'm interested. I'm interested in this match. I think Cody's going to win, but I think it's going to be. I think Darby Allin's going to push him to the limit, and then I think they're going to have a nice old handshake at the end of it, and then that'll be it.
Yeah, I'm going Cody Rhodes as well because like same reason. Like Cody's got a big match as well, a fight for the Fallen with Dustin against the Young Bucks, so he'd probably want to be kept strong for that as well. And like I think this will just be a big like coming out party for Darby. I like if you're not a fan, if you're not a hardcore indie guy, you probably don't know who Darby Allin is. And like he did the majority of his work in Evolve, and like his whole shtick is that he doesn't care about himself. That he just throws himself and just uses his body as a weapon, and just like he recently wrestled John Moxley at Northeast Wrestling, and like he wrestled the majority of the match in handcuffs, and like did suicide dives and did like all sorts of stuff with like his hands tied behind his back.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like it's
so he's just a crazy like. And did you see the Road to Fyter Fest thing where he did like a sit down interview?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was cool enough. He said like he revealed why he paints half his face like a skull, and it was because when he was a kid, his uncle picked him up from somewhere, and he didn't know that his uncle was actually drinking, and his uncle was drunk and crashed the car, and his uncle died in the car crash, but he was fine. But he says he lost his faith in humanity that day because like his uncle, even though he was his uncle, still didn't care enough to not drink and drive with him in the back of the car. And he says he paints half his face because he feels like that half of him is dead now.
That's interesting. That's character storytelling anyway. So
yeah. So Cody Rhodes, I'm going Cody Rhodes, but Darby Allin to get like severe kudos.
Yeah.
And next up, finally, the main event, or what it probably feels like the main event, is 6-man tag team match. It is the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers, Pentagon and Rey Fenix, and Laredo Kid. Who do you have and why?
I'm going the Elite. Because I feel like, it's Kenny's event. I think it's going to end with Kenny doing his go home promo, and the only way you can really do that is if he wins. So that's basically my reasoning for
it. Yeah, I'm going the same reason. The Elite, yeah.
Because it makes more sense.
Because it's Kenny's show, like, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's AEW's Fyter Fest. So yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Will you be watching live?
Yeah, I will, yeah.
Yeah, I probably will be too. I'm looking forward to it though.
Yeah.
Should be good. I'll watch it on Bleacher Report Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything else you want to discuss before we sign off?
No, that's it.
Okay. So yeah, that's been us.
Okay. That's been us, and we hope you all enjoy AEW Fyter Fest.
Yeah. The second of the AEW era.
Yeah. Enjoy the ride.
Thank you.
Thank you.